Yep.
Hi, welcome to Awake TV. So today Sue and I are going to talk about timing, divine guidance, and trust. You know, since both of me and Sue, we share our actual experience with you guys to help you to go through your own experience. We thought this is a great topic to talk about because we recently went through this, and it's a great way to, I guess, sharing our information, because now you can kind of realize if this is happening to you.
And we did a quantum healing session yesterday, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was
still
awesome.
ringing from the energy of that.
Yeah, like I asked Sue to do the session because I wanted to have a clarity. I share with you what happened to me because this will help you guys to trust. My guide could be my higher self too, guiding me to do real estate. So those of you who know me, my goal is not the real estate, right? But they're guiding me to go into real estate so many times, nudging me. I think since 2013, when it comes to it. I took the class and then I kind of moved to Los Angeles for my work, you know, back and forth New York. So I didn't continue the class, even though I finished the class. And then I had the opportunity to take the class because my good girlfriend of mine said, let's take it together. So I said, okay, let's do it for fun. And then, you know, I started to have this guidance. This will connect me to everything I wanted in life. Love, my, you know, educational entertainment company empire. And then I couldn't really figure out how all these are connecting to each other, even though they're guiding me. So without talking anything personal, you know, Sue gave me the QHHC session so I can go deeper. So those of you who are wondering, like, how come do I have to do this? Because I'm intuitive, I'm a clairaudient, I'm a clairvoyant. Why do I have to do QHHT? Those of you who are, you know, spiritual and do have your skills, you guys are gonna say you don't need a QHHT, which is not true. Because sometimes you want to have a huge confirmation through other people providing you QHHT. So you feel like you have extra, or you will connect with your team in more of super conscious level. So you feel like you are not, I'm not saying you're making up, but sometimes you are not really sure when two things that don't seem to be related to each other, or you can't really come up with any kind of connection between, you know, my goal to, let's say, real estate, right?
Well, it also helps you to quiet that thinking mind and go directly to, like you said, your super, what do you call that? Your super ego or whatever. Your super conscious mind, and you go into the higher realms and you get direct answers, and that they really don't beat around the bush, do they?
Yeah,
your higher self was right there going, okay, bring it, let's talk about this. And I thought the clarity was really nice.
It was super clarity, and then I didn't know, I don't know, 70% of the information that was given during the talk. I was connected to my higher self, which is Archangel Lumiel. I don't really talk to him much because he's not talkative like Archangel Michael. You know, he's just there, you know. So, but he was talking about the information I didn't know about. So number one, you know, those of you who come to me or Sue to say, oh, you know, I don't know, like if this stuff is real. Well, once you start talking about something you are not aware of, where did you get that information from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then my guide was directed me to contact a particular real estate agency, told me to look at the LinkedIn, and then there you go. Like contact was before that. So they're guiding me. And then the point is like, after the session, because of when it comes to, you guys might experience this, when it comes to your client or your friend, your connectivity is so clear, and like, wow, you got this information for everybody. But when it comes to you, you're not 100% for sure, because it's about your thing, right? It does
Yeah, because your
happen.
brain, you have a hard time deciphering between, is this actual intuition and messages from my guide, or is it my brain
Because it's about,
overthinking it?
yeah, because it's about your personal thing.
Right.
You're
Right.
more closer, emotionally closer, and then all that kind of history you're having. So you are not just, okay, I clearly got this information for my client, versus this is my information about me. I'm not sure, right? So the whole point is, I finished the session, and then I started listening to audiobook about real estate. And then I got all this information I heard from the session, which is no way for me to know prior to this audiobook, because I didn't have that information. And that gave me the confirmation that that was not me. My mind is making up, those of you who are skeptical, So the whole point is, I'm learning how to be 100% trusting the guidance. The guidance doesn't seem to be logical according to your left brain side of logic. So I'm gonna be started doing all this beautiful high vibe living thing on Wednesday episode, because those of you who are watching Ashtar episode is not going to be continued, because our collaboration period is done. He talked everything he needed to talk about. So no more channeling. So I have a Wednesday something to deliver, I need to deliver to entertain for you guys. And now I have a content about this, and then that wasn't even planned, that kind of,
The
came to
timing
me.
was right.
The timing
Like,
was perfect.
yeah,
Yeah. And how about you, Sue? Do you have any similar experience?
sure. But just getting back to your Wednesday show,
Yeah.
before we finish that, I had felt, and I know Hera too. I love Hera. She's amazing. But I had been noticing her content, excuse me, recently on YouTube, and it seemed like hers was going in another direction as well. Not necessarily a new direction, but an expanded direction.
Yeah.
And excuse me. So the divine guidance part of it is that you both were feeling called to expand in your offerings, and as you said, you told me, and I believe you, that everything that Ashtar was coming through you these last couple of years that you've been working together, everything that needed to be said has been said. And you also told me that if there's a time where Ashtar needs to come in and say something, that you'll go ahead and put up a special episode. So that's
With
great.
Tara, not on my channel.
Yeah, with Hera.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I can see the timing is everything, because you did it as long as you were called to do it, which is your divine guidance. And now you're both kind of going in other directions. You with the real estate, you're learning that it's going to be time consuming. And I can also see how the timing is connecting you to your entertainment production company, because all of those skills, the ability to channel and hear your inner guidance, the divine guidance, and then you've been a coach for quite some time, really good what you offer people, and so you learn to work individually with people, and then now the real estate is really going to bring you into meeting people, like you said, possibly your a love in your life and all of this. but connecting with people and doing things as a community, the company that you chose sounds like they're just, I mean, they have such a spiritual element to them, which is amazing. And there's something that you have to offer to them. Of course, that's what collaboration means. So the timing of it all, it just seems like it really makes sense to me because I've been the outside observer watching you and Hera do your show together and listening to the programs, and you've been telling me for some time, about this idea of doing real estate, which I think is an amazing idea. I love working with people, so I'd much rather do that than, but so for me, I can see how that timing is just right, the way things are happening for you both. And I'm excited because I know you're both on these journeys, just of expansion, which is, I think, what we're all doing. So if I want to tell you about my personal, I got two little things I'll tell you very quickly. Um, One, I wrote a book, and it's about, my 30 years journey, in the spiritual world, and it's about the Christ consciousness. But it's not a religious text. And so I had to come to some self-confidence about putting this out to the world, because I know what I believe and I know what my truths are and I know what I've learned over time. And but to be able to give that out to the world, uh, it's been a process for me. And so what I found out in our session yesterday, because you were kind enough to give me some time with your higher self, your highest self, Lumiel, um, is that timing is important. It's like I have been receiving divine um, information that get this book done. Because I was originally going to write this book with a friend of mine in Sweden. We were doing sessions together trying to come up with a book, but he was finishing his book that he's been working on for 5 years. And finally, my husband just said to me, why don't, he's like, you got enough information for 5 books. Why don't you just write something? And as I sat down and started doing it, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I had teams all around me just, okay, well, what about this? And what about this? And do you want to talk about this? And then even as I was doing some pre-editing work, they said, well, use this word and not that word because that's more universal. That's more of the energy you want to. So I was in constant contact with them as I was writing all of these truths that I had found over time. And it's not anything that, it's not no kind of Bible. It's no kind, it's just information that I want to share with the world. But your team said to me yesterday, don't wait to put this out, because if you don't put this out, then somebody else will, and then it'll be like old news. And that made me remember back to what my original mentor told me, a long time ago, which was, hey, ideas are energy out into the universe and into our realities. If you have an idea and you don't act on it, it doesn't matter what you think about the idea. If you, it's your divine guidance coming in and telling you they want you to do something. Let that idea out. Go ahead and go for it. Don't care what anybody thinks about it, and just do it. Because if you don't grab that piece of information that the universe and divine guidance is sending you, someone else will, and they'll put it out there. And then you'll go, well, shit, I've been thinking about that for a long time and I just never did it. So the reason it's important for me to get my book out now is because it's the essential step for me to go ahead and really transition from the 9 to 5 job that I do to full-time quantum healing. And that's the connection. Now, that wasn't my intention when I wrote it. My intention when I wrote it is to share just what I've garnered over the years, for people that are interested in the topics that I am, and ascension and becoming our higher selves. But there's a very natural connection to why I was called to write it and what my future holds and the work that I will be doing with the world as we ascend. So it makes sense to me that the timing like, because I'm being called to just sit down and write this thing, even though my original project idea with my friend in Sweden didn't work out, it worked out perfectly because it worked out for him. He was able to finish his book that he's been working on for 5 years. I mean, our sessions were amazing, mind blowing. It took me days at times to ingest all the information that we got, and like settle it in my system. And it worked out perfectly for me because it gave me the impetus to say, no, the time is now. You want to write now. It doesn't matter if the original collaboration didn't work the way I thought it was going to work, but it worked the way it needed to work. See,
Yeah.
there's that divine knowing that knew more than me and my friend did when we first started. But we were both able to do our books, and we both feel really happy and thrilled with the information that came through. So it was perfect. It was divinely guided, and the timing is now to get it out. So this weekend I'm going to spend with my husband. He's a publisher type. Um, I'm being modest. He knows everything about publishing, so he's going to help me get this on the road. And I'm just going to do it. And I think that's we're what we're all saying to you guys is, even though you don't know why something happens or why you're called to do something or why the idea is just burning in the back, go for it, because it is obviously the timing for you to go ahead and put that out there, make the invention, create the idea, create a course, write a book, whatever, paint that painting, because your divine, your team that's in the higher dimensions are pushing you to do it. So just go for it, you know?
Yeah, like Bashar used to say, your higher self can see from the up and then top of the mountain which way to go. And when it doesn't make any sense to you, because from where you are at, this is the shortest road to your whatever the goal in your life, right? So the believing in and the trusting the guidance is really important, even though it doesn't make any sense to you. This is the point. It doesn't make any sense to you. Because when you think about my real estate thing, they guided to me, it doesn't make any sense to me, you know, even for you guys, like, why am I doing this, right? But they told me to do it. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. And then I could have a choice not to follow. It's gonna take me longer to accomplish what I want with my life purpose, including probably my future husband, but that's another thing, you know. But I have a choice of not taking their flow, because when you listen to the guidance, it will go with the flow. Everything gonna be so easy, like, because they already set it up automatic road for you, or you choose the other road which you think it makes sense to you. And then I give you the example of my lesson. I was strongly suggested to start doing YouTube 2016. Strongly suggested. And I didn't. If you looked at my YouTube when I started, that's October 2018. And then I was only doing it one episode per month. The reason why I wasn't doing it, because I was heavily involved in branding and then entertainment stuff. And then to me publishing the content without having a professional crew, you know, I'm used to working with, was kind of embarrassing for me. Okay, I'm sorry to say that, but I didn't want to, because I'm not a camera person, I'm not a lighting person. I went to school to learn it, but I'm not a professional, so I didn't want to put the, you know, amateur content as a producer to the world. I really didn't want to do it. And then my business partner at that time, I kind of started telling him, let's do this, but he wasn't into it. So I wasn't meant to do this, what I'm doing, 2016, not 2018. I missed my timing. I completely missed my timing, because between 2016 and 2018, the algorithm of YouTube had changed significantly. So even for the business point of view, the reach of the audience or freshness of what I'm talking about back then compared to 2 years later is completely different. And that's kind of like supporting what Sue is saying, because if she would decide to publish her book 2 years later, the material I read was breathtakingly amazing. So when she'll put the information in her website, so you guys can buy it. It's amazing, and then nobody is talking about it. But 2 years later, maybe somebody else will, and no longer fresh new thing. And then I learned this huge lesson from my own mistake of not listening to my strong advice through other people. I was told to follow this guidance, and I said no.
Yeah, because at the time it didn't make sense, and you had standards for how you wanted to do things. And
yeah, I had that quality presentation standard. Like when it comes to entertainment stuff, I didn't want to put like a
mediocre. Yeah.
Now I don't care, because content is important than quality, right?
Exactly.
But back then I cared so much about it, so I immediately said no, it's too embarrassing.
And see, that's another message we need to bring today for everybody listening. Please stop judging what you're doing. Okay? Don't compare to what anybody else is doing. Don't feel that you have to do it the way they're doing it just because they're super successful. Whatever. You're going to find your success, because whatever reason you're being guided by your divine guidance to do something or to create something, there is an absolute reason, and it is because your higher self wants you to do it. And try and enjoy it while you're doing it, but don't drop off the judgment, drop off comparison, and do you.
And drop off the reasoning of your left-sided brain.
It doesn't have to make sense.
Why am I doing this? Because it's a guidance. Okay, it doesn't make any sense for me to doing it, but they told me to do it. And then with QHHT session with Sue, I have reason why. I'm not going to share with you because it's very personal. But you have to listen. I mean, it's your choice. You don't have to, but I suggest you to listen. That's why I shared you with the 2016 mistake or lesson, right?
Yeah.
There's always huge, big picture. They can see how they connect with two dots, which you don't see how this is connected in your point of view, but it does. And it's the shortest path to get where you want to go.
I mean, and I just want a quick touch on the trust part. So I don't know if you guys all remember the chia pet. Maybe you're too young to know what that is, but it's this little piece of ceramic, and you put seeds in there, and it's got dirt in it. You put seeds in there and you water it, and then it grows, and it looks like the pet's hair is growing. Okay. Chia pet, right? Check it out, man. That thing was a sensation. Do you guys really think that whoever thought of that thought it was going to blow up the way it did and become as popular as it did? It was just a really neat, creative idea, right? And somebody probably just thought, oh, it'll be fun. And then when everybody's like, oh, I want one of those. That's so cute. I want, they loved it. Pet rocks. People used to sell rocks with googly eyes, and then they'd either paint them or put clothes on or thing. Okay, so this is what my team was telling me to talk about. It's like, you're not going to imagine, you don't have to know why you're called to create something
or do something.
It doesn't have to make sense. But if it's something that feels strong within you to do, trust it. Trust that there's a reason why you've chosen to go through this process, or why you're being called to it. And then have fun, have fun watching it take form, and watching learning about the process. Well, okay, now I have this thing. How do I produce it, or how do I get it out to the world? And then maybe you might meet some people that are going to help you with that. And then you're really glad you met them, because like me and Erica, 2 years later, we're still hanging, we're still talking all the time and supporting each other. It's great. I mean, this is like my soul sister sitting next to me, and I get to talk to her, all the time, and
Yeah,
we do
all the
this
time.
show and we share our experiences and we go, oh, isn't that cool? This is what I learned from it. Um, so that could come out of something as simple as asking somebody for their opinion or their expertise on how to promote something. You might meet a new friend that's a lifetime friend. You never know the reason why, but that's where the trust comes in, right?
Yeah, it's really important to trust because now, because of 2016 experience, I'll listen, you know. I'm not gonna say, oh, ridiculous, real estate got nothing to do with my goal. It does, according to my higher self and my guide, and I know why now, right? So when they tell you to, not the illegal thing, but when they tell you to get this job or go to this place or move to this place or whatever, I don't know what that is. It doesn't even make sense to you. And
Yeah,
it
I
is
met a lady the
for
other day
money.
that was just telling me that she didn't know why she was being called to move from California to Florida, and her husband certainly didn't, but she just said, We need to move." And he went, "Okay."
And then what's
Yeah,
happened to them?
she's loving it. She was a big marketing person. I can't remember the industry she told me, but marketing's marketing anyway. But she had had an illness that took her out of that. She was making a lot of money. And, California just started becoming uncomfortable. And then she told me afterwards that she came to realize why she had the illness, because she was work, work, work all the time, money, money, money all the time, which I don't want to make a generalization, but it does tend to be a California thing because it's expensive to live there.
Well, it
But
is more expensive than New
it's
York.
expensive. Yeah. So anyway, she realized that she was, working all the time and having great success, but she wasn't happy. She wasn't living her life. And the illness came along to help her stop doing that, to get out of her head and get into her heart. And she's a member of Connecting Consciousness, as am I. And that's where we met at a convention a couple days ago. And she said, it's the best thing I ever did. Um, she said, I don't know why Florida either. And I said, yeah, when we were going to move from New York to we were going to move to Texas originally. And then the more I looked into it, the more I just kept going, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And then I started thinking about Florida, which is where my parents wanted to move to when they retired, and they couldn't because of health reasons. But I thought, yeah, I'm going to start looking into real estate in Florida. And the more I looked, the more excited I got. See, that's how you know it's divine, is when you get excited about it.
Oh yeah.
How do you tell the difference between a divine guidance and your mind telling you you should? That word, should. Okay, as soon as should comes into the equation, that's probably your thinking mind. But if you have an inspiration towards something and you get excited about it and it brings joy just thinking about it, that's how you know it's divinely led.
Yeah, and also when I pick like a road 1 or 2, I feel into it. Does it feel good? Forget about logic. Does it feel good or don't feel good? Because everything is a vibration.
It is. It is
So
truly.
when you feel good immediately, that's a go sign.
Yeah.
Your brain started saying, oh, what about this? What about that? How do you do this and that? That's thinking.
Yeah, and I found too over time that when I would especially when money's concerned, I would get worried about, putting money into something. And then, my guide said to me, you're putting money into your future. This is an investment in you. I mean, if you wouldn't hesitate to go out and spend, $5 to $6 a day on a coffee, which I don't, but a lot of people do, or, the little things that we piddle money away with, why wouldn't you make that investment in the class that you want to take? This was our conversation when we were doing quantum healing, when I was deciding whether I was going to do quantum healing or not. And I mean, geez, $30,000 later studying for my graduate degree, and I still don't have a degree, and I I don't want it. It's like, that was a should. I went to graduate school because I thought I should. Okay. And that's okay. That was $30,000 well spent because I learned that I needed to do what I was called to do. And so I don't have any regrets about that. But it's good that I have that example to show me and say, you know, when I'm listening to what my internal knowing is telling me or what my divine guidance is, then I'm happy. There were no promises when I took the quantum healing course that there would be a payout of any kind or that clients would come to me. This has just developed over the years. And as I became more and more aware of the divine guidance and how it was helping me in my sessions with people, and more people said to me, my gosh, thank you so much. This was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And that joy that I felt as I was doing it, man, I mean, that's worth 10 graduate degrees, more than 10 graduate degrees, you know, all the graduate degrees in the world, because I'm doing what I really love to do. And so even if you don't know what's at the end of your effort, but you're still being called to it, and you say, well, yeah, I got to make an investment. I mean, most of us can get hung up on money if we don't have a lot of it. Invest in you. You know, don't make it so that you can't eat or that you're going to lose your home or anything like that. But I mean, you know, borrow money, ask for a loan, you know, see if you can do a payment plan, whatever. You can figure it out if you just believe that you deserve to do that for yourself, that you're worth the investment.
Yeah. And, I do get the client like they are, not sure if they should take this spiritual course or this and that. When you get called to take it, for some reason, you feel like you want to take it, if it's BQH, I have link on my description box for 10% off. So you can use that for the code. But when you guys feel like, okay, this is something, I don't know why, but I want to take it. I took so many courses, started as a hobby. And then I didn't know I'm going to do this healing coaching thing, which I'll do with the real estate too. It's not, I'm creating this, right? But I started out doing this as a healer, but I wasn't really thinking about doing this as a profession. I was doing it for just fun. So I took all of the certification just for me. And then it's turned out to be, okay, when COVID happened, I switched I had to pivot myself to start doing this. And then I don't have to take anything because I took everything, but I couldn't tell this is turned out to be like this, right? So it's
Yeah.
important to follow your passion. Somehow you want to do this, you don't know why, or your friend repeatedly suggesting maybe it's a good idea for you to do this, and then you feel good about it, right? Sometimes your friend can see your talent really clearly.
Yeah, if it's a trusted ally, then, you know, I would say that the divine communication is coming through your friend.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then if you're not sure, then, you know, say to your friend, you know, you've mentioned this before. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you think? Or what do you see in me? Why you think this would be good for me? And then let them tell you,
And
because
then,
that's divine guidance too.
and then think about how you feel about it, because
Yep.
you have to be doing it.
That's right. You're the one ultimately that's going to do it. So you can't be cajoled into anything, but I mean, hear them out anyway.
But divine guidance, they often use a friend as a opening. Like my girlfriend said, let's take real estate course for my fun. I wouldn't even start doing it because that wasn't even my sphere, right?
Yeah. Wasn't
That
a
was,
thought for you. You
yeah,
surprised me when you told me, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I could really see you doing it. Yeah.
I finished the course and then I passed the exam, but my girlfriend started it, not me. But that was part of the divine guidance, I think. But
Yeah.
my guide said it is.
So any
Yeah,
closing thoughts?
be flexible and see if it's fun for you, and decide from heart-centered feeling decision, not from your brain, not from your mind, not the why, because it makes sense to you logically.
Yep. And I'd only add to that, if you think you're doing something because someone told you you should, or, you know, maybe social conditioning said, well, this is what makes sense for me to do. That's a should. That's not divine guidance. Divine guidance is something that you're going to get excited about, or that you're at least very interested in. So that's
Yeah,
how to
or
tell.
like this is your family always have been doing this, so you should do this. That's not the
Right.
guidance.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So next week, I have no idea what kind of topic we're gonna come up with, because it's always something to do with what we are going through. So that. So, but anyhow, we'll bring interesting topic next week, and then we see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.